Have you ever wondered why the majority of the millionaires, even billionaires, always draw reference to this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? The reason is thought is a fundamental determinant of what flows to us as humans. But the good news is everybody thinks. Now the big question is, if everybody thinks, why is it that some people think and grow rich while very many others think and get broke? And that is the reason for this video. And I'll be sharing with you on the topic, why think and get broke. You see, thoughts are things, an incredibly powerful thing that a man's life depends on it. One of my mentors said something. He said, believing, believing, believing. He said, you were believing in what you believed in, even though you were lying. What do he mean by that? He simply means, whatsoever I tell myself about the future outcome, I made it up. Now, a man's life is a reflection of his thoughts. No one's life can be better than his dominant thought. Now, what are the kind of thoughts that causes people to get broke? You see this? If I am having a conversation with a person, it might not be about money. It might be about something different, but it will be easy for me to gauge where they are financially. Why? Because how a person communicates, both conscious and subconscious level, determines how they think. And how they think also determines how they communicate. It's a second thing. Now, what are the kind of thoughts that causes people to get broke? I will just focus on one today, and that is thinking from the past instead of thinking from the present. Majority of the people project their past experiences on the screen of their future. They recreate their past thinking they are living their present. Now, majority often say, do you know what has happened to me? The truth is that a bunch of things has happened to very many of us. But you recreating your past and living in your past is not in no way doing you any good. Majority recreate their past and think they are living their present. Many are living their yesterday today, living their last week this week, living their last month this month, living their last year this year. Majority are even living their last decade this decade, and their life is not getting better. And this goes against the very first thing God told man in the book of Genesis 1:28, and he said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. What is a fruit? A fruit is a living organism that sees in himself the ability to reproduce. The ability of a fruit to reproduce is inside that fruit. Meaning, when God said be fruitful, he was not just talking about having children. He meant, I have put a creative aspect of me in the inside of you. And what's interesting to know is this: God did not put every aspect of his creativity in anybody, but he put an aspect of his creativity inside everybody. And that is why there is something apparently that you can do better than others. There is something apparently I can do better than others. And if you think there is nothing you can do better, that's a clear indication that you have not discovered yourself. Remember, he said be fruitful. He didn't say be seedful. Why? Because it is impossible to have a fruit unless it's being preceded by a seed. Now, I love one saying that says, he said, any fool can count the number of seed in an apple, but only God can count the number of apple in a seed. Now, every human, because God said be fruitful, that means you already have a seed that you need to be fruitful. And every seed is useless unless it's being planted. Now, imagine a seed of a corn in your hand. You can't pop it, you can't eat it. But when you plant it, it will give you a bunch of seed. Now, that creative ability, that fruitfulness ability in you is like a seed, and it's like a useless seed unless it's being planted. Now, poverty or lack of money is not lack of resources, but lack of money is lack of self-productivity. And now the way to be self-productive is to plant that seed, which is your creative ability for it to produce. A seed you put on the ground does not have the capacity to give you one fruit, but it gives you a tree. And the tree can produce countless number of fruits year in, year out. Remember, you reap what you sow. But you don't reap when you sow, you reap later than you sow. So you have to take time to develop your creative ability. You reap when you sow, but you don't reap the amount that you sow. You reap much more than you sow. That means when you develop your creative ability, it's not going to serve you alone, it's going to serve as many as you cannot imagine. He said, be fruitful, multiply. Multiply, why? Because multiplication is the natural input, as it is the natural output of the input of fruitfulness. Like I said before, a seed you put on the ground does not have the ability to give you one fruit. A seed you put on the ground does not have the ability to give you one fruit, but it gives you a tree. Now, when God said multiply, He means for us to increase, and not just incremental increase, but exponential increase, geometric increase. Be fruitful, multiply. He said replenish the earth. Now, replenish it means fill up the earth with the creative ability that is in the inside of you. Fill up with the creative, replenish the earth with the creative ability. So there is something apparently you can do. I have a hack of trying using in development of ability, maybe communicating to people. If, for example, there is something you notice you can do very well, devote a time, an hour time is a perfect time to work on the thing that you like so much. That is the reality. Now, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. It says subdue it. This simply means that whatsoever tends to stop you, you are both bigger and stronger than them. That means you cannot be stopped, subdue. And it's only when all these steps are taken before you can have dominion. And one of the things that grants you dominion is your financial ability, is your financial status. Now, instead of you thinking from the past and getting broke, you have to think of the present and future. Think of your creative ability and get rich. So don't think and get broke, rather think and get rich. That is the message. And I hope this message will help you to change most of your pattern thinking. And I hope to see you at the top. And thank you, and hope to see you in our next video.